I'm going to be cooking something good today. So, the Ubisoft Forward Showcase happened last week, and yeah, it wasn't that good. In fact, like, the whole showcase in general just obviously proves my point that Ubisoft is nearing, hanging on to the cliff of bankruptcy because of just how poor the showcase was altogether. See, EA basically has the same cringy stuff, but at the end of the day, there's still some success over at EA. With Ubisoft, barely. Now, some people will say this is a cope, and I'll be honest, I thought it was too. Because doing some research, I looked into how Ubisoft was doing, because I know they have had a pretty terrible year from 2019 all the way to current, and I was shocked by apparently what I found out. So, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, a game that I and some other people had said had some good ideas, but felt like the execution was poor. It kind of felt boring to play. Not as boring as Watch Dogs Legion, though. Let's get that right off the bat. It's not as bad as that one. But, well, everything else, though, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, yeah, I could see it was pretty much, in a right direction. That game earned $1 billion. Since like what last time? Like for like what was it? A year and a couple of months. It got them $1 billion. So this raises the ultimate question that I will love to have answered because the showcase just something's not right here. If the showcase is supposed to show off high quality games, the best of the best, where is the $1 billion going to? Is it just to keep the studio's lights on? Because it clearly ain't going to be funding other projects. Like, is it mainly just to try to get Beyond Good and Evil 2 to work? Because clearly, every other game that you see that is current or is basically being ready to just, be shipped to the public, they aren't that good of quality. Like, there's nothing about it that makes me want to buy a Ubisoft game. And Ubisoft Forward is just a prime example. Like, how do I explain this in the best way scenario? Not even a scenario, just straight up facts. This is something that's just a straight up fact. Why would I buy a Ubisoft game when there are other better games out there that make me just have fun? Ubisoft games aren't fun anymore. It feels like a chore. Even Far Cry 6 just felt so boring. I never even played it, but I've seen people have talked about it and play it, and it just doesn't look that appealing. Graphic-wise, looks good. Gameplay-wise, looks like garbage. This raises an ultimate question that I feel like a lot of people just need to think about real quick. So if it is true, like I said, that they made $1 billion, why is it not being funded to the games? Because that is something that I feel like just really just bothers me. Is it going to lawsuits? Is it going to their own greedy pockets? Is it being spent somewhere else? Like, why is the games not trying to be like of higher, quality and, I don't get it. How do you make EA look good? How do you make Activision Blizzard look good? That's not even a meme. Like, Ubisoft is doing worse than Activision Blizzard. Because you see, while Activision Blizzard is being super controversial and always has been throughout the years, they still make a lot of money. But Ubisoft? Yeah, they can make some pretty good change, but holy crap, there are still people that dunk on this. Like, this is something that I personally feel like Ubisoft could never let go of. And it's just this state of Ubisoft. Like, development needs to change. Leadership needs to change. Because this Ubisoft quality that they showed off at the Forward showcase, like, bro, that was awful. There was like one game that stood out the most that I think, hey, this could make a lot of money. And that's Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. And like, even then, I feel like that's also a kind of like, a game that's not going to perform as well because not too many people like it. It's a shame because it still looks good. Like I'm gonna be honest. I can see why people are, a little bit upset with it. And it's mainly because of two reasons. One, it's Ubisoft, so they'll obviously ruin it somehow. But the other, I can understand with it being, why is a game coming out when a remake is supposed to come out? Like, in fact, that's the thing that's kind of weird. The remake was announced first, and then later on, this game is just hot off the press, being ready to ship off into the new year of 2024. So, like, what's the point of the remake then? Is the Lost Crown just being made solely to try to have Ubisoft justify canceling the remake? Because the remake was sounding already doomed to fail. From switching developers to apparently switching gameplay as well. Like, apparently they're starting from scratch. It's just not as good. Like, the remake isn't catching people's attention, but the Lost Crown is. It's getting some attention, though admittedly negative. There's still some positivity around the game, so it's like, yeah, Star Wars Outlaws, I don't know, it looks all right. I think I'm just curious about how the reputation system is going to be, because, listen, if you're going to try to beat out Fallout New Vegas's reputation system, you better do a damn good job with that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But those are the only two games that I kind of had like a piqued interest for. Like, not like, oh, I'm going to buy it immediately day one. I'm going to pre-order the collector's edition. No. I'm not doing that. Like, it's just, hey, if I come across it and I have some money and I heard good things about it, I'll buy it. Everything else, though, was just stale. Like, how the hell do you make every other game just sound so boring? Like, how do you make Avatar actually boring? Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I'll just call it Frontiers of Pandora because, like, this is a pretty bad game. This doesn't look that good at all. In fact, honestly, it gives me Far Cry feels. Like, it feels like it's Far Cry, but it's something completely different. But at the same time, just is a typical Ubisoft game. You go to a base, you liberate it, you basically upgrade your skill tree, you do this and that. There are multiple ways of doing a skill tree. There are vehicles you could drive around in. Just feels like a Ubisoft game, and that's a damn shame because despite it being different, it still has that formulaic, like, same old pattern that just I hate. Like, be original, be different. Like, oh my god, just actually, do some do some stuff that is just so different. Like, stop being so, you know, formulaic. I think that's the right word. I'm not sure. You know what? I feel dumb just talking about Ubisoft because you have to get into their mindset of stupidity. Because how can you try to justify something good when there isn't anything good about Ubisoft in general? What else was announced? Riders Republic, I don't care about that. Roller Champions, definitely don't care about that. Brawlhalla, pass. X Deviant, that's a game that I kind of feel sorry for because I have played the alpha of it, and I am gonna try out the open beta for it, or beta, whatever it's gonna be. But yeah, this one's gonna suck because honestly, the devs are pretty all right. They're pretty cool people from what I've seen and heard. And like the major issue is this isn't going to be the COD killer. This is more of like the COD suppressor. This is to, get everybody excited for the next Call of Duty, but they're so hungry for like, a multiplayer game that's like, free to play and like, oh, I got to do it. I got to get my FPS like skills up. I got to be good. So they're playing X Deviant solely to just suppress like their love for Call of Duty until the next one comes out, and then that's it. Once the new Call of Duty drops, and if it's a huge success, which it most likely will be, the next Deviant will pretty much suffer because at the end of the day, it's like it's only gonna last a while, and no matter what you add, it's like, listen, Call of Duty's gonna kill them. Like like COD is the killer of many games that claim that they're the COD killer. So I'm sorry, but I just don't see it working. I apologize. What else was there? Just Dance? No, thank you. I had fun with Just Dance when I was small and dumb, but hey, maybe I will get into Just Dance later on, but not this year's because I ain't getting into K-pop. I'm not bopping it to BTS. I'm bopping it to some good old classic stuff because you know what? If I'm gonna lose weight, I lose weight with style. Skulls and Bones. Yeah, that's a game that's possibly never gonna be released, or if it does, it's gonna be like in a very crappy state because they got a technical beta that's coming out. It's just I don't care about that. Oh my god, I really don't care about that. And then there was a Netflix show that I didn't care about. In total, like everything about the Ubisoft Forward showcase was just so bland. Like it was just so lifeless and soulless. And you have Eve Gillimont just basically trying to like act like, oh, I care about you guys. No, you don't. You basically said the ball was in your court last time. Then you had to retract it after you basically realized, hey, my employees are French. They will murder me in cold blood. They will behead me in the streets of Ubisoft. That's not even where they live. I don't even know where they're from. Paris, France, maybe? But regardless, yeah, Yves Guillemot, I think he fears his own employees because he knows they had enough. And you know what they say. When one employee snaps, they all snap. Once they all start going into a snapping frenzy, well, just remember, beheading is a fate worse than death. But okay, for real though, like the whole thing about it is that it is just something. Oh God, the Ubisoft Forward just makes me feel ill to talk about because it's just so stale and lifeless. But there is one thing I will add before I do officially end the video here because overall I give it like a 0.5 out of 10 because that just it was just so lifeless. Like literally every time somebody talked and like it was just so boring. I literally had every opportunity to leave, go in the kitchen, have a drink, stay there for a minute or two, scroll on Twitter, even like mute the video and check on Twitter when it was just really boring and just nothing about it just made me want to stay put and listen. Like bruh, Capcom got my attention. Like, come on, Capcom at least got my attention. What about you, Ubisoft? Like, look, I have autism, I have ADHD. Basically, just, I'm hyper focused on a lot of stuff. ADD, whatever I got, I'm super hyper focused on certain things. However, I can get bored really quickly when it's just, very boring to me. Like, listen, PlayStation gave me a good showcase, Xbox gave me a great showcase, and recently with Nintendo Direct, it got me a great showcase as well. Of course, I was being talkative with a friend of mine because that's just how it is. Like, I love being around with my friends. I'm always like so hyper and happy to be with them, cracking jokes, cracking wise, all that stuff. So it's like at the end of the day, I still was like intrigued by the Nintendo Direct. I was just making jokes just to like be spite, not even a spite, just like playful spite out of my friend. He's a cool nerd, but yeah, it's like in general, just at least those kept me entertained. But not Ubisoft. Like Day of the Dev, I was intrigued by it. PC Gaming Show. I'm not a PC gamer. I still was enjoying it. Like, bro, oh my God, how do you make a showcase just so unwatchable? But then, well, there is one thing I do gotta add that I just have to say. Phil Spencer was amongst the audience. Like, Phil Spencer was there. And Ubisoft, I want to say this, you're not getting bought at this rate. You actually had the worst showcase imaginable, and you had Phil Spencer right there in the crowd. He was right there watching. I know that you were doing the, Xbox promos of Jet Set Radio and Roller Champions, Master Chief and Arbiter and Brawlhalla, and like other stuff, but holy fucking Shit! Holy balls! I just don't understand it. Like, what the hell did you do? You just ruined your chances. You're gonna be bought by Xbox? No, you ain't. You're not gonna be bought by anybody. You're doomed to fail. You screwed it up badly. Oh my god! How did you screw it up? Phil Spencer was right there. You motherfuckers! Oh my god!
Don't you recognize me? It's a me, Mario.